Hey, it's Scott Barrett, and welcome back to The Burning Truth. And I'm joined by a man who deserves his very own award for most likely to start a fight with a mic. It's Matt Burns, everybody.
Thanks, Scott. Tonight's not just any episode, it's the biggest event of podcasting year, especially for 2024. It is none other than The Burning Truth 2024 Podcast Awards, also known as TBT Awards.
That's right. We're handing out awards for the most shocking moments, jaw-dropping matches, and unforgettable stars of 2024. But don't expect us to give away the winners just yet. You'll have to stick around to find out who takes home the gold.
From shocking partnerships to career-defining matches, this year has been nothing short of legendary, and we're here to celebrate it all.
So grab your favorite drink, hit that subscribe button, and get ready for an epic episode, because this is The Burning Truth. And we're just getting started. That's normally where the intro kicks in for us, isn't it? Right.
Pretty much.
Let's get into it then, shall we? Excited for this, Matt Burns?
Oh, I'm definitely excited for this one.
This is a very special episode of The Burning Truth, because not only are we live, which doesn't happen every week, but also I've got a jacket potato.
And
always exciting.
Actually, I think that's a first, isn't it? This is a first for us, isn't it?
First, Matt, the first time I've eaten whilst recording the pod.
Whilst recording, and live eating as well.
Live eating. Hey,
live eating.
What do they call it? Mukbang. We're into mukbang now, Matt Burns. We're spreading out. We're spreading out. Right. Why don't we start our awards? I'll drive, right? Let's start our awards with what I like to call biggest shock or surprise of the year. Do you want to talk us through a little bit about how we got to the decision we made, and then reveal our award for this? So, biggest shock or surprise of the year, Matt Burns?
It was one that we had to sit there and think. We didn't want to just go to, just go into, that caught me off guard or anything, but it's got to be something that's got to be absolutely, shocking to everybody. Something that we'd never ever think would happen, especially in the industry. We could sit there and talk about, big moments like new championships, new teams, individuals turning, but what better way than to speak about unusual partnerships, ones that we can never see coming from out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I think this came from, let's start talking about it now. WWE do not normally play ball well with others.
No, they don't. They don't play well with others, do they? But
at all.
They don't. And yes, we know that other companies have got like the forbidden door and everything. But I feel like as though with this one, WWE pretty much booted the door open and said to another company, come on in, which is very unexpected. Very.
And that's why our biggest shock of the year went to the partnership between WWE and TNA Wrestling. And I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, definitely. Especially seeing as that partnership, not only did the partnership, you can sit there and say, oh, it could have been done through part of the year. No, it was near enough started from the actual start of the year.
And it carries on to today, if I'm not mistaken, that we still have certain crossover between WWE and TNA, right?
Exactly. And the fact that I would say, I think if I'm not mistaken, it actually all started from the Royal Rumble. 2024 Royal Rumble, where we had NXT wrestlers coming in.
And TNA wrestlers.
Oh, and TNA, my apologies, slipping up there. TNA wrestlers coming in, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, and in what better way to actually start it off with none other than the juggernaut, Jordan Grace, who at the time was TNA's Knockouts champion. And you sort of thought, oh, it's a one-off. It's a one-off.
And we had seen not the TNA Knockouts champion or the Impact Knockouts champion in WWE before. Mickie James had also entered the Royal Rumble with the Knockouts championship. So there was form for it to be a one-off, right?
Yeah. So we sat there and thought it was a one-off. But then we got Naomi sort of
who should just taken the title off. Yeah.
No. Who Jordan Grace had the title off. But at the same time, what was so shocking is at the time Naomi wasn't signed to WWE.
No, she was still a TNA wrestler at the time.
She was still a TNA wrestler, so that's more than one TNA wrestler in the Royal Rumble. What's going on?
And then it spiraled from there, and we got some amazing moments this year, right? We
got
Joe Hendry.
Say his name.
Yeah, Joe Hendry, which was an amazing, few months in WWE, and we're still all fingers crossed at TBT for a Royal Rumble entry for this year. But we didn't just got that. We got quality storytelling across both brands. The only thing that lets this down, and it was a point of discussion between us, wasn't it? It was the one place where the TNA and WWE partnership missed, was not getting AJ Styles back over to TNA.
Oh.
It was a missed opportunity, that was.
It might have just been either missed time, it might have been unfortunate things that might not have been able to make it work. But yeah, I'd definitely say it was a step that could have been that if they were able to hit it and they didn't, then that's a massive misstep. But if they couldn't do it for a certain reason, that's understandable. Who knows? Yeah. That could still be a future step.
Maybe. Let's hope. Right? Let's hope. And as we go into 2025, who knows who WWE want to play with next?
Exactly. So you never know. You never know.
You never know.
It's phenomenal, the fact that we've got two companies working together, and not only that, and everyone sat there thought, oh, it's just WWE just using TNA talent. It wasn't. We actually had WWE superstars on TNA.
Absolutely.
So it breeds it breeded great storylines, a fresh dynamic fit both sides, and also helped create magical moments and magical matches.
Yeah, 1000%. Couldn't have wrapped that up better myself, Matt Baines. Let's talk about our second award of the night. And just so everybody knows, we've actually got 17 awards lined up for TBT. I wanted an 18th, but Matt Baines says I'm not allowed to award myself best co-host. So it's 17 awards for TBT. And we've got number 2 for you here. And it is a biggie. Matt Baines, can you talk us through why we chose our moment of the year?
This was something that moment of the year is something that we should cherish massively, because it's something that could be considered, is it a once in a lifetime moment? Yeah, we can say that's a once in a lifetime moment with what happened. It was more than just once in a lifetime. It was epic. It was absolutely historic for many reasons, and the fact that it was something that the fans have been dying to see, been pleading to see, and the fact that we had to wait almost an additional year for this moment to happen.
I think you gave it away there, Matt Baines. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania 40 as the moment of the year. Why did we choose it, Matt Baines, more than what you just said?
Simply to put, as much as it might sound like a spoiler, which I could have leaned it to somewhere else, with the certain appearances of The Rock.
Yeah,
because not many people think of that. But the fact is, the reason why I picked this why we both picked this for moment of the year is because it was an end of the Tribal Chief's historic reign. It fulfilled, Cody Rhodes' personal goal to finish the story, and not only that, we'd also had the final boss being involved. We had literally John Cena,
Seth Rollins, John Cena,
Seth Rollins,
Solo,
and The Undertaker. The Undertaker. Now, I'll be honest with you. I actually had Stone Cold down for possibly returning here.
Yeah, potentially.
Not The Undertaker. But it was a moment that I was happy to be wrong.
And did that take anything away from it for you, though?
Oh, no. It added more. The fact is, I thought to myself, we're never going to see Undertaker at WrestleMania. And then you just hear that dong and you just like, jaw hits the floor. Wow.
Yeah, and we got The Undertaker back.
we've got the Undertaker there, literally handing a choke slam to the Rock.
Do you want me to tell you why I thought this moment was so good?
Go on.
So we had that entire year where Cody debuted back at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He went on and he fought against Seth Rollins and had that amazing trio of matches. Ended in that Hell in a Cell match with the awful calf injury.
Yeah.
Pec injury.
Yeah. Was that Hell in a Cell? I believe that was Hell in a Cell.
It was at Hell in a Cell where it was revealed.
Yeah.
And what it was is we got to WrestleMania and Cody returned and he won the Royal Rumble and he went on to face Roman Reigns. And we all believed, like we had previously, fair play, we all believed that Cody was going to finish his story at WrestleMania 39. Just like we believed that Drew McIntyre was going to win at Clash at the Castle.
Yeah.
Just like we believed that Seth Rollins was going to win at the Royal Rumble. Yeah. Just like we believed that Edge was going to win at WrestleMania. We did. And none of these things happened. But when we got to Cody at WrestleMania 39, we believed again. Yeah. And when it didn't happen, I thought that was it. And they were right to give Cody another year. Now, whether they were going to follow through with that at first or not is something else. But the fact that we did follow through, we got to WrestleMania. Don't laugh when I say follow through. We got to WrestleMania. And then Cody finished the story and won the championship. It was a moment for all ages. And the post-match where everybody was in the ring, we even got Bruce out and Triple H and his family and a couple of the baby faces. That doesn't happen, Matt Burns. That doesn't happen when a wrestler wins a title at WrestleMania. That was special as well. The whole moment was just something very, very special. And Cody Rhodes is a very special man. And that's why it meant so much to everybody.
Yeah. And the fact that it wasn't just about Cody himself. It was literally him telling the story of, his family history, his father, and everything. And it just culminated in such a beautiful moment. But not just that, there was also another thing to add on that I didn't mention, that we haven't mentioned yet, which is none other than when Seth got involved.
Yeah.
The fact that he actually wore his old Shield gear to sort of remind, Roman Reigns of what Seth did to him. To get him angry enough to focus on Seth and not Cody for a moment. And that's all he needed. Which
absolutely all it needed.
It makes an entire story come full circle.
Yeah. And what a phenomenal story. I think the fact that we got Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania 40, the reason it won Moment of the Year is because when I think back about 2024 and I think about wrestling, that is always the first thing I'll think about.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Shall we move on?
It's generational, the moment is.
Yeah, it's absolutely generational.
Yeah.
So we talked about Moment of the Year. Now let's talk about Breakout Star of the Year, Matt Burns.
Breakout Star. This is...
There was a debate on this, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah, there was. It was tough. We were going back and forth. We were literally, because there can be many breakout stars. Mm-hmm. Because there were many breakout stars. Some that shined either in villainous ways, some that shined in positive ways. And, even some people who could have been, diving into between multiple companies and doing other stuff. Yeah. But the thing is, it's really, really tough, especially if you are a new incoming individual coming into the main roster or onto the main scene, and you're a generational superstar / wrestler with a famous family. It can be tough to sort of try to make a name for yourself, especially with the the whole history of a family looming over you.
Absolutely. And that's where we get to with our Breakout Star of the Year 2024. It's only Bron Breakker, Matt Burns.
Definitely. Definitely, definitely, and he is more than deserving because the fact is, many could sit there and say, what, a lot of people sit there and say, why is he not using the same name? Why is he not using his family name?
Yeah, agreed.
And I think he's done a smart move here by not using the family name. He's not. It's almost like he's trying to carve his own path, his own
Yeah,
history, and the fact that his his name is almost close to another saying. And I'm surprised that no one's actually picked up on this. The fact that his name Bron Breaker sounds very close to Bone Breaker
absolutely.
because the speed and velocity he hits a spear, I'm surprised he doesn't snap people in half.
Yeah. And when you think about the year that he's had, he exploded onto the main roster, captured the Intercontinental Championship twice, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken, consistently delivering outstanding performances. And I think what sets Bron Breakker apart for me, Matt Burns, I'm not sure what you think, but I think what sets him apart for me is that intensity and charisma. And I think that's why we've pretty much marked him as a future contender and a future sort of cornerstone of WWE. This guy's going to be a big main event player in the future, I think. When I
if
think about the future of
yeah,
WWE,
this is how sure I am. I know I could bank on him being a potential future main eventer, and I know my money's safe. I
yeah,
know my money is safe
something would have to go
because
horribly wrong for Bron Breakker not to
oh,
become a
it's got to be
megastar.
it's got to be absolutely it's got to be like cataclysmic for it to not happen. And the fact is with him is whether he's being liked, whether he's being hated, the man more than earned respect already from fans for the like you said, the intensity and charisma that he brings to that table.
Yeah, totally. Couldn't agree more, Matt Burns. Absolutely. Shall we move on?
Yep. Let's move
Well,
on.
just to give you a quick recap, then we've had biggest shock or surprise of the year was WWE's partnership with TNA Wrestling. Our moment of the year was Cody finishing his story at WrestleMania 40, and that was our breakout star of the year. And we decided on Bron Breakker. Now, for our fourth award, I'm going to take you on a bit of a history lesson here, Matt Burns, because you know this better than anyone. Before I was part of this podcast, I used to listen, and over the years, this podcast has not been kind to a certain WWE main roster worker.
Yep.
For all the right reasons. We've had the podcast, I think, has been very challenging for her, but but with the aim of wanting her to improve and be better.
Spot on.
However, this year, 2024, for me, was the year of the one and only Nia Jax, the irresistible force. And I'll tell you why. Because Nia Jax reinvented herself in 2024. She transitioned to a more relatable, authentic character. I think we felt that she was being herself. Her in-ring work and promos have showcased significant growth this year, and it's culminating in her winning not only the Queen of the Ring tournament, but then having an absolutely fabulous reign as the SmackDown and then WWE Women's Championship. And I think when I think of this year and the SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley won it at WrestleMania, and that was a lovely moment. But actually, Bayley's reign didn't live up to what we wanted it to.
Yeah.
It didn't. It wasn't a success for a lot of different reasons, and I don't want to go into those now. But Nia Jax's reign on SmackDown absolutely was a success,
Yeah.
and she's been so consistent this year, not just as a character, but in the ring too, which I think is one of our main complaints going back a few years, is that she's been sloppy and a little bit dangerous over time. Whether it's been, and whether that's fair criticism or not is up for debate.
Mhm.
But this year, Nia Jax, for me, is the most improved wrestler.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, I feel as though when she sort of got released for quite a bit, and
Yeah,
then it's almost like she's gone away and sat down and gone, well, why have I been released? What's going on here? And she hasn't just asked the right questions; she's dealt with the questions. and brought answers, which
Yeah,
is she has vastly improved herself. And the fact that instead of it just being, oh, I'm better than you because I'm the most dominating, I'm the biggest, and everything. She
yeah,
hasn't just been just a carbon copy, a shell, sort of like, just using the typical basic heel things. She seems to have developed her own personality, her
yeah.
own character, and it really, really shows. So
And it's
when it
worked this year, right? It's worked.
a- it's more than just worked. It was literally, the fact is she became an irresistible force because you had to see how much of an improvement she was making, and almost each week she was getting better and better and better. The fact that we got moments like you said, she became so relatable instead of it just being like just I'm the champ, moving on. It's like
Yeah,
her interactions with Tiffy when she's literally indicating to Tiffy, yes, you can't, I don't want your cash on me, but there is another main champ, uh,
yeah. Those moments are fantastic. And I think when I think about Nia Jax, I tell you what I want, Matt Baines, actually. I want you on record today to tell me that Nia Jax, I want you to say it. Nia Jax was the most improved wrestler of 2024, and you are a fan of Nia Jax. That's what I want to hear.
hang on. I,
I'm,
Matt
I'm
Burns,
recording.
Matt Burns, I know it's being recorded because it's going to be on YouTube. Matt Burns, will absolutely 100% agree that Nia Jax is the most improved wrestler of 2024 and has been an absolute standout to the point of I want to see her almost every week on WWE television because she has been an absolute standout.
Yes. Do you know what? It was probably about halfway through this year when I really started seeing a difference in
Yeah,
Nia Jax, and I remember we had a debate about it. I don't think it was on the podcast. I think it was around that time, but I don't think we actually had the debate on the podcast. But you weren't sold at that point, and I said to you, "This is around Queen of the Ring time, but before she'd won the title."
it
And
was
I
so.
said, "Just watch her for the rest of this year because she's going to be, it's going to be special," and she has been, hasn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I can't disagree. And the thing is, the fact that it's the fact that you actually got me saying what I've just said, especially with the history of the Burning Truth, the
Yeah.
fact is, if that's not evidence enough that she's the most improved wrestler,
There isn't any other evidence. Let's move on, Matt Burns. Our fifth award. And this is a big one, right? So
yeah,
this is our indie darling. And I'm going to let you drive from here, Matt Burns, and tell me what
yeah.
you think this award is for, what it stands for, and why we've chosen this person.
For me, the Indie Darling Award is for somebody who is on the independent scene and not just like on the big shows. Yes, they might have been on the WWE, they might have been on AEW, they might have been on TNA and everything, but they're not just working them shows. They are working on multiple independent shows. They are working the GCW shows. They're working over internationally. They are over here in the UK. They're over in Canada. They're all, there isn't a place there isn't a country or place or independent wrestling company that they're not willing to work with, and the fact that they are willing to work with anybody on the scene, it's just absolutely phenomenal and a credit to the winners' dedication. Because for me, the indie darling isn't just the fact of just working the independent scene. They are put instead of just sitting there saying, "I want to make this company big." They are the ones that wanting to put wrestling forward more, as in as a whole, as in they want to make wrestling their main thing to push, instead of it just being one single company.
And without further ado, Matt Burns.
This is will be in the winner of the Indie Darling is none other than always ready Matt Cardona.
Yeah, do you know what? We've talked about this loads of times on the podcast. I aren't my depth of independent American wrestling knowledge isn't quite to the level of yours. I tend to be or feel that I'm a WWE fan, and some may call me an expert. I'm not quite sure about that, But what I do know is that Matt Cardona has dominated the independent scene again last year. He brings star power to promotions, places like GCW and TNA. His adaptability to he's got a knack for drawing crowds, right? Which is the main thing for these independent promotions, and that's reaffirmed for me his position as indie wrestling's biggest draw, and that's what this is about, right? It's Indie Darling is about indie wrestling's biggest draw, and for me, that's Matt Cardona.
Yeah, spot on. The fact is, he has many nicknames. The King of Death matches. He's dubbed himself. He has become a bit. There's a nickname that he's been given by fans that he hasn't actually decreed himself. A belt collector, which he has become a bit of a belt collector. But the point being is, the man. I think the always ready is always spot on. That nickname is very fitting because regardless of which, and he's actually said this on an interview, regardless of where he's working, he won't come in and sit there and just go, I'm just going through the motions because I'm just here for a payday. He comes in and he will bring the full 100% Matt Cardona, whether it be, he could be in a bingo hall and he will bring Matt Cardona to it and literally make it stand out, regardless of whether there's one wrestler or thousands upon thousands or even millions watching. He is a genuine indie darling who will go above and beyond for anyone who's willing to book him, for any promotion that does have him on, and to literally put on the best quality show for anyone who's paid a ticket for any show that he's on.
How much does Matt Cardona pay you? I mean, you're working hard as his hype man right now, Matt Burns. That's what I'm saying.
As much as
you're passionate about it, though, right?
Yeah, and it's the fact that he's passionate about wrestling, not just the independents. He will work anywhere, and he has been a credit to the independent scene and the whole wrestling scene, because for him, he literally says, whether it be bingo halls, whether it be top of the mountain and everything, he'll bring his A game no matter what, because that's the way he has been taught from day one.
Yeah, cool. Okay, let's move on then. The next two awards actually are fascinating, to say the least. So what we've got next, and I'll give you the rundown of both, is we've got our crowd favorite award and our heat magnet award, which is basically our top babyface and top heel of the year, is what we're saying in terms of the crowd reaction. Yeah,
I will say the crowd favorite was definitely an easy choice.
Absolutely. And do you know what? I'll talk this through, Matt Burns. I don't mind. The reason we chose Jey Uso, and I went there early, accidentally went there early. Jey Uso was infectious energy, crowds, overwhelming reactions, yeet. Nothing could be more over than yeet. And that catchphrase made him a standout babyface. The transition from the Bloodline and SmackDown over to Raw really allowed him to connect even deeper with fans. And I think what's really interesting about main event Jey Uso is that he did all this in spite of a terrible singles match with his brother at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
A real letdown, which could have killed all his momentum, but it didn't, right? It didn't kill his momentum. He absolutely went from strength to strength and continued this year as strongly as he started it. And I was worried that it would peter out over time. And when the Survivor Series joining back with the Bloodline to take on the Floodline, the new Bloodline, the fake Bloodline, the Floodline, I thought, we're going to go back to Jey and Jimmy now. We're not going to get the same main event Jey. And that's absolutely not been the case. We've got more main event Jey now than ever. And I absolutely love that he's carved out his own character.
Yeah, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic, the fact that as much
Michael Cole on Raw.
The fact that
he nearly put his back out. He yeeted that hard. He nearly put his back out.
The fact that you got Michael Cole jumping onto the the announce desk, yeeting. It's astronomical. It's astronomical. The fact that you got Michael Cole being in that hype, man.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Also, sidebar, that new Raw announce table, that is not anyone's friend. I am the table. Right, what we got next? We've got number 7 next. Award number 7 of 17 and we are half an hour in. So thanks for joining us for this.
Yeah.
What we've got here is our heat magnet, and I think this one is for somebody who's become, was already on the rise, but has become a top heel in 2024. Draws nuclear heat from fans,
Yeah.
Matt Burns. Fair to say.
Although there was a close call right near the end.
Okay.
There was a close call right near the end, but the fact is, it only happened at the end of the year, where the winner of this has been consistently pure heat magnet
Yeah.
throughout
Go
the
on, Matt
year.
Burns.
And the winner of the Heat Magnet Award goes to none other than Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry. Boo. Yeah, for all the reasons that I just talked about, nuclear heat, the betrayal of Rhea Ripley,
Oh,
the cocky persona, he is a despised character in wrestling. The partnership with Liv Morgan's been fantastic. The Judgment Day, fantastic. The perfect place for him. He looks smarmy currently with the tash and the mullet and the cow vest. And
yeah.
I don't know what you think, Matt Baines, but I think the best heel in wrestling right now for me.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. And the fact is, I think you pointed something out during one episode of SmackDown involving Tiffy. Facial expressions.
Yeah, 100%.
Facial expressions. Just yeah, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And the fact is, what's so interesting with the fact is, there was a time where we were sitting there thinking, because Rhea, it looked like she was turning more face, especially with Liv Morgan. I sort of thought to myself,
Yeah,
oh, Dom's going to turn with her and everything. But, there was a turn, but the difference was it went from heel to super heel.
yeah, absolutely.
And I sat there and thought
What
to
a
myself,
moment.
how did Dom pull off a heel, a sort of heel turn, a bigger heel turn, while still heel, and get
And I think
himself.
it's fair to say that was on the short list for moments of the year this year was the Heat Magnet Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah,
The turn from heel to super heel,
yeah.
but didn't quite beat Cody finishing the story.
No,
But
no, no.
Dom was shortlisted for a few awards on this list tonight.
Oh
And
yeah,
this is the
definitely.
one he ended up winning, Heat Magnet, and absolutely a deserving winner. Shall we move on to our next award, Matt Burns?
Before you do, in case you want to know what the honourable Heat Magnets for the end of the year.
Oh yeah,
New Day.
Honourable mention. They're going to have a strong 2025, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. The fact that they are getting as we and this is how much of a heat magnet Dominic Mysterio is. The fact that when you're getting pure, absolute, unadulterated heat, we don't just call it heat, we call it Dom heat.
Dom heat, yeah,
Dom
absolutely.
heat.
Okay, let's talk about Show Stealer for this year, Matt Burns. I'll let you talk to us a little bit about this.
This is a show stealer is someone who's literally going to showcase and bring literally it can be putting a lot of butts in seats. And this is one where an individual is that charismatic and that epic that people want to see what is next, what they're doing, be it either because they've got a flashy style or they are telling an absolute epic story or have got such a charismatic personality that they pull you in.
For me, I think the reason this person's won this award this year, Matt Burns, is because not only has he been consistent, and that's what we're talking about here, consistently phenomenal in terms of match quality and promos,
Yeah.
but also the biggest feud of the year, he pretty much held on his own this year. For
Yeah.
big lengths of time, he was the only person on TV. And I think that's really important. Consistently delivering show-stealing performances. Every time he's been on Raw or SmackDown, the shows have been far better for him being on there. His matches, I can't name a match this year that he's had that wasn't spectacular.
Yeah.
And like I say, the promo work for the feud that probably the feud of the year, maybe, was was, he held it for the majority of the time because his opponent was injured. And that person was the Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre. I mean, doesn't get any better than that, Matt Burns.
No, it doesn't. And the fact is, not only that, the fact is he is somebody. Bear in mind that a few years ago was in 3MB.
And then
He was in
released.
and released, and then he's reinvented himself, come back, but then he sort of he came back after reinventing himself, he sort of thought, oh, that's it. He's hit his ceiling. It's like, but then most people when they drop the WWE Championship, you start thinking, oh, that's it. He's just hit the ceiling now. He's going to go back down and not. He won't top that. Yet he has, even without a belt.
Drew
Without
has leveled up in 2024. And
Yeah,
I didn't know that was possible. And I think that's what you're saying here as well. We didn't know it was possible, and he's leveled up again. And I think, well done to Drew McIntyre, because he's one of the best things on WWE TV right now. And in a world where we've got Cody and the Bloodline and Chelsea Green,
yeah.
that is hard. That is
Now,
hard
no,
hard
and
to do.
that's all in the same company. Bear in mind that he's also got other potential show stealers, like in AEW. Like you've
Yeah,
got like Will Ospreay with his style and everything, and the fact that he puts on a clinking performance. But for me, we have reasons why we didn't go with Will Ospreay in others and everything. But no hate here. This is awards. This is a celebration. Drew McIntyre has been an absolute standout, and I feel as though that there's going to be a bit more of an explanation towards the show stealer, possibly a little bit later.
definitely. But for now, let's move on to our next award, which is Promo of the Year, Matt Burns. What do we feel about Promo of the Year?
Oh, this is where you've got individual. It could be either a single individual or it can be individuals. Now, a promo it can be something that can make you feel a story, feel a moment, and this I will say is when I was watching it, it was a good promo. The fact that as you're watching it, you can't take your eyes away even for a second. The fact that you've got the hair, the hairs on your arms, the hairs on the back of your neck, standing up on end because you are that focused on watching what's going to be said next.
This one was so good because at the time it felt so different. And now
Yeah.
we've seen a couple of these since, right? Maybe 2, 3. But this felt different and it felt important. It felt big. And that's why for me it's Promo of the Year. And it is, drum roll, it is Cody and Roman Reigns at Georgia Tech Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact is, the fact that as much as they could have just said it in the ring and everything, the words that they were using were good, but where they were made it feel that almost so special.
Yeah,
Because
it was
there
so
was
special.
history for both of them. There's history.
And, Georgia Tech, where Roman Reigns played football. Yeah.
Yep.
Georgia, obviously Cody grew up in Georgia, Atlanta.
And
WCW, his dad
winning championships as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the emotional depth, the stakes, the on-screen drama as they came together as a tag team to fight this new bloodline,
The Floodline,
Floodline, fake bloodline, the faux bloodline, absolutely epic. Promo of the Year for me, hands down. It wasn't even close, was it, Matt Burns?
Oh no, nah. It was like good promo, it was like good promo, and then this one.
Yeah, so high up. What was I going to say? Not catastrophic.
It was
stratospheric.
Yeah, it was literally glass ceiling breaking.
Yeah, and that was Promo of the Year, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at Georgia Tech Stadium. Next, Matt Burns, I want you to talk to us a little bit, if possible, about Feud of the Year.
Now,
yeah,
Feud of the Year. This, to me, I feel as though this is where you've got not just one match. you've got multiple. And you've got to have it where you are consistently having people dying to see what's next in the feud, dying to see what is next, what is going to be the next drum beat for the next part of the story. And feud of the year for me is it's not. I wouldn't just call it just feud of the year personally. This is storytelling at its finest. And the winner of this one didn't just make you believe that they hated each other. It was that much of a phenomenal storyline. What I find even more epic about it is there wasn't even a championship on the line.
Yeah, I agree totally. It didn't just make you think it was important, it made you feel it was important.
It,
And this, Matt Burns, as we said before, was the feud over the bracelet.
yeah,
Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Why was it so good?
the fact that you cared more about a charm bracelet than than any championship that was on WWE or on TV that you were watching. It made it feel so personal. And the weird thing about it is the fact that earlier with the show stealer of the year, Drew
Yeah,
McIntyre was able to keep this feud massively beating its drum while CM Punk was injured.
yeah. Do you know
And
what the
then
moment of the feud was for me, Matt Burns? And people
are
will
you
point
about
to the Hell in a Cell match
are
and they'll
you about
say,
to say Clash at the Castle?
I am. And people will talk about the Hell in a Cell match, and it was phenomenal. Probably the
Yeah,
greatest Hell in a Cell match, certainly of the last 20 years. Um,
yeah,
Definitely in the top three. But that moment at Clash at the Castle, where the referee runs in to count the three, it's Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest at the time,
yeah.
and the ref counts 1, 2, and then the camera pans, and it's CM Punk not counting the 3 for Drew McIntyre. I
Oh,
mean, come on, man. That was electric.
it was not just electric. At the same time, some people could sit there saying Drew's been hard done by, and I feel as though what made this even more epic to a degree is as much as everyone can sit there saying, "Oh, CM Punk's in the right, CM Punk's in the right," but at the same time, with this feud, they weren't exactly saying that Drew was wrong. They were. He was technically, almost in a way, a he's a relatable villain in the fact that he wasn't exactly wrong, was he?
The best villains are right in their own mind and right in their own point of view. And you can definitely see things from Drew McIntyre's point of view, and he's definitely right from his point of view. So, and that makes these characters really interesting. And that's why, again, along with, this feud was definitely helped by that phenomenal Hell in a Cell match that ended the feud. That was simply fantastic.
I don't think it's just that match. The fact that you
But
had
but
that
that match
match,
at the end of this great story, yeah, that's
yeah,
what it was, Matt Burns.
it
Exactly what
was.
you're saying.
Yeah, the fact is, you got not just that, you got the attacks, you got the strap match, you got you know costing championship matches. It's
Feeding him the bracelet.
yeah, feeding him the bracelets.
Cost him
Uh,
the title at Clash at the Castle. Cost him the title at WrestleMania. All these things. Injured him at the Royal Rumble. All these things that layered in to such a phenomenal story. And yeah, I'm glad that we picked that as feud of the year, Matt Burns, because
oh yeah,
again, it wasn't even close.
it wasn't even close, and the fact that Drew even had his own custom-made T-shirts, if I'm not mistaken, with a grave saying CM Punk at WrestleMania, and he's there standing there like, it's like,
Let's.
and the fact is, Drew also reinvented how to do social media, especially some
Oh
of his
yeah,
TikTok stuff. He was
yeah,
literally
brilliant.
he was using social media at its finest and pulling everybody in.
Let's change lanes a little bit now. I think feud of the year, Drew and CM Punk. We could talk about it to death, and we'll
Yeah,
probably do a deeper dive on this at some point in why we think it was. We'll break down beat by beat and explain why we think it's one of the best stories in wrestling. But I want to talk about in a year where we didn't have a lot of great tag teams consistently throughout the year showing us how good they were, we're going to take a slightly different stance on Tag Team of the Year, aren't we, Matt Burns?
That we are, because for this, as much as everyone said, they're saying, well, hang on, they didn't exactly have many tag matches together. And to a degree, yes, you will be right. But they are still a team in the fact that they helped each other in such unique ways, and the fact that they were able to do things that they weren't able to do prior when they were working by themselves.
And this might seem like a bit of a knock on the tag teams in WWE, but actually, we've had a lot of tag teams injured throughout the year. We've had a lot of tag teams struggle and flounder across both sides of the brand split in WWE. AEW hasn't exactly set the world on fire in terms of tag team wrestling this year either, consistently throughout the year. And this surprising partnership between Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio delivered not only these intriguing storylines that we've talked about, and not only the solid performances that we've had from Dominic Mysterio, but also Liv Morgan.
Yeah,
They've blended romance, rivalry into an unforgettable, team dynamic that has been one of the better parts of WWE this year for me. It's certainly been maybe one of the most exciting parts of Monday Night Raw.
definitely. And the fact that with them both being together, I feel as though with them coming together, Dominic ended up getting his Heat Magnet Award because of it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because
If
of
Dominic and Liv never get together, Dom peters off probably the end of this year as Rhea Ripley turns babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
agreed totally.
and who knows? There could even be more awards being actually being collected due to this partnership, this tag team.
Yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal casting, really good partnership. You got to remember that Liv Morgan has had a hell of a year. Could have quite easily won Most Improved Wrestler this year. Not only has she had a quality run as the women's champion, which compared to her last women's title reign has been, chalk and cheese. It's been much stronger. We've seen her win the Crown Jewel Championship, which was a huge deal at the time, and yeah, she has now lost the title in 2025 to Rhea Ripley, but she ended 2024 as the women's champion, the world women's champion, women's world champion. And with Dom on her arm and Raquel Rodriguez and the Judgment Day has been one of the most, like I say, exciting parts of Monday Night Raw. So for me, this totally makes sense. And this might be dubious, and you might get some comments in that disagree with this. But for me, Tag Team of the Year, Liv and Dom, absolutely. You can't tell me the War Raiders, who've been injured for most of the year, have had a better year, because you can't. You can't tell me the New Day, who've been missing for most of the year, have been better than that, because they've been missing for most of the year.
Yep.
DIY floundering on SmackDown until the heel turn. Pretty deadly. Where have they been? The completely miscast for most of the year, the Street Profits with Bobby Lashley.
Yep.
Pretty deadly. Where have they been? A-Town Down Under. Who cares? So you see where I'm going with this.
No, you just hit the nail on the head straight away.
Young Bucks, a terrible storyline and then disappeared.
Yep.
A terrible turn, actually, once it and then disappeared. FTR, where have they been? Injured? No?
They've sort of been on and off and floundering with the Outrunners.
Yeah, there you go. See, so for me, this was it was the only choice when tag team wrestling suffered this year. And us on the Burning Truth, we absolutely love tag team wrestling.
We love our
and that's why we're hoping for a much stronger year next year. If we can get some quality tag teams together for this year, I would hope that Tag Team of the Year becomes our main award. But you never know.
There could be a chance.
There could be a chance. We've had tag team main events for WrestleMania before now. When it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's move on, Matt Burns. This is my favorite award. I'm so glad we're doing this one.
Oh, no, you're not. Yeah, same here.
And what we want to talk about is Finisher of the Year. So talk us through Finisher of the Year, Matt Burns.
Finish of the Year is basically the second you see this finisher, it is, it is done. It is over. It is, there's definitely a 3 count. There could be a 3 count. There could be a 4 count. There could be a 5 count. The match is done, dusted, over, finito. And we're not talking about, oh, he's at the finish and someone's kicked out. No, this is one of them. This is the move where the second you see, it's done.
So let's talk about some honourable mentions first, because we did talk about these, didn't we? RKO, always steady,
Yeah,
can be out
always
of
solid.
nowhere, solid move. The
Always.
Annihilator, Nia Jax,
Yeah,
another one.
yeah, definitely. That's a good one. The old-fashioned DDT, implant DDT, is can be,
Riptide, we talked about as well, didn't we?
the Riptide, the spear from Bron Breakker.
The super spear, he calls it now, doesn't he?
Yep, the
Yeah,
super
all
spear.
those things. But although, is it more super? Actually, Matt Burns, I'll ask you this: when Bron Breakker does the super spear, yeah, that's more super than a normal spear, right?
Yeah.
When Roman Reigns does a spear, yeah, when he goes ooh ah, does that double the power of his spear?
I think that's his charge up.
Does it double the power? I wonder if it doubles the power. It's wrestling. Anything can work.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible. But then again, bear in mind that Braun doesn't just go ooh ah. He literally bounces off the ropes. The fact that the speed he hits.
I know. Do you know what ruins that for me though? The reason
What?
it isn't finished of the year. Do you know what it is?
Go on.
It's that if at any point the person he's wrestling while he's hitting the ropes 2-3 times, if they just went like that with their elbow,
Yeah,
it's finished.
exactly. Or if they just sidestepped.
Yeah, right, Matt Burns, talk to us about finish of the year. But break it down. Are we ready?
This for me is finish of the year because the second it is already in participation, as much as someone could start saying you can move out the way, but the second you see that happening, it's like you're gonna be like Daffy Duck just looking up, going, "Mother."
And that move is
none other than the Tsunami.
The Tsunami by Bronson Reed. And I think about all the times he's hit it this year, Matt Burns. The image actually on your screen now, if you're watching along on YouTube, is the Tsunami on Seth Rollins. It's one of the 9. But I think even more impressive is that I don't know if you remember the one on Bronson Reed, not on Bronson Reed, on Braun Strowman on top of the car.
Yeah.
Absolutely epic. Some of the Tsunamis that have been hit this year, and obviously the Tsunami that broke an ankle from the top of War Games cage through that table.
Bear in mind, he did one on R-Truth while R-Truth was standing.
Yeah, he's a hero. I absolutely love Bronson Reed. I love this finish, and I think he deserves our respect.
And the fact is, and here's a little hidden detail that not many people might know now with the Tsunami. Watch how he gets up.
He goes from 1 foot, doesn't he? I've noticed that. He goes from 1 foot.
And do you know why?
Because it's different. That's a guess.
That's one, but he's also paying tribute to somebody else.
Oh, right. Okay, go on.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, wow.
It's a tribute to how
I like it even more now.
How he used to hit his headbutt, his flying headbutt.
Oh, I like it even more now. I'm even more a fan of the Tsunami. I mean, I don't want to take it as a finish, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a match finish, that is. But bear in mind, when he first started and he used it on NXT, he used to do it double-footed off the top rope. But for some unknown reason, I think since he started that changeover, he's made it look more devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can't really put your finger on why it's different to begin with, but the fact that it is different makes it special.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tsunami. Fantastic. Right, shall we move on to our most consistent performer?
Let's go for it. The most consistent.
Talk it through.
This is somebody who has, no matter what, they have always consistently put on an absolute stellar match. Hard, be either hard hitting from pillar to post, back and forth, and everything, keeping all fans engaged out whenever they appear. The second you see that this individual's on the show, it's going to absolutely stand out. And do you mind if I give a bit of a hint and maybe
You
spoiler.
do what you do, you Matt Burns.
I've got to do me, because many can sit there and say with this style that this individual has, he always produces banger after banger
The
after
one and
banger.
only Celtic Warrior Sheamus. Yeah, our most consistent performer goes to Sheamus. Sheamus proved his consistency with one style match after another this year. Hard-hitting physical style, and it has delivered, as Matt Burns said, banger after banger, keeping, I think, fans engaged all year long. And I think Sheamus, really interesting one because, for me, probably I would put him in a similar boat to Nia Jax. Maybe, obviously, stretch the time out a bit longer. But when I first saw Sheamus a very long time ago, when he first came to WWE and he was feuding with Triple H and John Cena, etc., got to remember that the guy won his first WWE title within a year of being on the main roster.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because he hadn't built up enough equity with me, but I wasn't a fan. And actually, the longer we go on, the more I appreciate Sheamus. And I think he is a phenomenal part of the WWE roster. And we should all, absolutely bow down to Sheamus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of it, the fact is when he was on the independent circuit, being formerly known as the Irish Curse or SOS, the fact is he has been absolutely a standout regardless of it. And for me, like we keep saying, he brings banger after banger. Bear in mind, example, put him in with anyone, and he produces quality.
You've only got to
Whether
look at some of the more recent matches with Ludwig Kaiser.
yep, Ludwig, Sheamus versus Gunter.
Yeah.
Against a certain show stealer, Drew McIntyre.
Bron Breakker. Yeah, some of these
Anybody.
matches have been phenomenal. Yeah. So, Sheamus for our most consistent performer, I think easily Matt Burns, yeah.
Yeah, easily. And not only that, not just in one-on-one action, triple threat. Ludwig and Bron Breakker, the triple threat.
Yeah, absolutely. Most consistent performer for me, Sheamus. Shall I do a quick rundown of what we've done so far, Matt Burns, whilst we get into our last four?
Go for it.
So, biggest shock or surprise of the year went to WWE's partnership with TNA Wrestling. Our moment of the year was Cody finishing his story at WrestleMania 40. Our breakout star of the year was Bron Breakker. Most improved wrestler was Nia Jax. Indie darling, Matt Cardona. Crowd favourite was Jey Uso. Heat magnet was Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Our show stealer was Drew McIntyre. Our promo of the year was Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at Georgia Tech Stadium. Our feud of the year was Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Our tag team of the year, controversially, was Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. And our finisher of the year was the Tsunami by Bronson Reed, leaving us with the one we've just done, which was our most consistent performer, Sheamus. So, number 14 of 17, Matt Burns, our match of the year. Shall we just put them out of a misery, or do you want to talk us through?
This is, for me, match of the year should be whenever it's match of the year. For me, if there's a story behind it, this should be the match that should be ending stories. If it's just a one-off moment, it should be a match that should be an absolute epic clash and a showcase where people are demanding to see more, regardless of wherever it is. Match of the year should be the match that everybody wants to see again, potentially, regardless, either the same year or even the following year. But it's a magical moment once it happens. But with that being said, for me, for the burning truth, yourself included, Scott, match of the year has been none other than earned by Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, Hell in a Cell at WWE Bad Blood.
Couldn't agree more. Epic clash. The perfect conclusion to that intense feud we talked about before.
Yeah.
Both men pushing the limits in a violent and emotional encounter that defined for me the year. And the couple of moments that I want to talk about there, which is the cut on Drew McIntyre's head. The fact that the bag of tacks wasn't a bag of tacks. It was a bag of bracelet pieces. And most importantly, that bump. that Drew McIntyre took from the Claymore on the edge of the steel steps. Holy moly. What a bump.
That brought tears to me. I when I watched that, I cried.
Oh, yeah. You knew it hurt. I think we all felt it.
It literally, I was holding my back as that happened. It was like, oh no!
And do we think it was planned, or do we think he was supposed to land flush on the top?
I think he was meant to land flush. I
Oh,
generally do.
I kind of want it to have been planned because it was so like such an ugly but brilliant bump.
It's basically almost like a Bob Ross moment. The fact is, even if it was an accident, it turned into an epic moment. It hyped up the match even more because it was like, wow, what are they willing? It made you sit there thinking they're willing to put their bodies and risk themselves this much.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think it was legit is the fact of as soon as he hit it, the way he arced his back.
Yeah. Yeah, he knew it, didn't he?
Oh, but then again, regardless of even if it was planned or not, that had to hurt. That had to suck.
It had to suck. Right, we've taught this feud and match to death, Matt Burns. So let's move on to number 15. Let's talk about, and I'm going to let you take the lead on this one because you're going to love this, aren't you? I want you to talk about our comeback of the year 2024.
How do I do this without producing a tear?
Yeah, please don't cry on the burning truth.
I'm gonna do my best because for me, this was a absolute comeback. Now, there were potential others that could have taken it, but for me, this was for an individual who hadn't been able to wrestle for many years.
Yeah.
And many thought he could have been better, because of the reasoning behind it. But the fact is, this individual is an absolute standout. He is somebody who many have imitated. Many, be it on
Yeah.
the US scene, UK scene, many other places. Many individuals have borrowed from this individual. And I am so proud for the fact that he is British born. He was, uh, he did the return at AEW All in London. And this was after a 13-year hiatus. This award of Comeback of the Year belongs to Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah. Do you know what? How could it not be? I think an amazing moment at All In. And I like Nigel McGuinness. I'm only familiar with his Desmond Wolfe work previously, and then his commentary. But I've since gone back and been through the archive and checked some stuff out. And yeah, Matt Burns, you're absolutely right. This guy's stellar.
He's absolutely stellar. He's always put on a clinic, and the fact is, just look back. If you want to get an example of his history, ROH, his legendary rivalry with Brian Danielson. Enough said. Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said on that, and the fact that they got to reignite it.
Yeah, on
in
AEW.
2024 on AEW. As soon as I heard the music, I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he just walks out. I was like, yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic moment, Matt Burns, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it meant a lot to you. And I think, Nigel McGuinness, to your point, 13-year hiatus, reigniting that feud with his legendary rival, Brian Danielson, and it delivered a really emotional moment for those that were, in the know and were connected to it. So I'm really glad. And that's AEW's audience, right?
Yeah.
It really made sense for them at the time. And for me, comeback of the year, absolutely. There wasn't anything else close to that for me. Let's move on to our last two awards, Matt Burns, and these are the big ones.
These are the big ones. These are I'd say these are our headline.
Yeah, there are no bigger awards in pro wrestling than the TBT awards that we're about to do. We're about to do Superstar of the Year female and Superstar of the Year male. Starting off with our Superstar of the Year 2024 female, Matt Burns.
This individual has been an absolute dominating machine, holding a championship for a record breaking throughout almost an entire year, working across multiple promotions and making appearances where many wouldn't believe would be happening. And it was almost, basically, it's almost plays back to a certain first award that we actually revealed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it
It
does.
linked actually was the start of that,
Yeah.
which this individual who has earned Superstar of the Year female belongs to an individual who is currently in TNA contract, but it could be coming out of a TNA contract. It is none other than the juggernaut, Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I mean, how could it not be? She dominated 2024, knockouts world champion for the majority of the year, made history across multiple promotions, including a Royal Rumble appearance. She was also in that epic 5-on-5 women's tag match in NXT a couple of months ago. An absolute superstar for me. I think Jordan Grace is on the ups, and we're going to see her quite soon in WWE again, hopefully, as part of the main roster. I think we saw in the Rumble last year that she put some of our main roster talents to shame. And I think I want to live in a world where Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley can happen.
Take my money.
Isn't it?
Just take my money. Just take me bank card. Done. Done. Honestly, absolute standout. And the fact is, she was literally breaking doors, breaking barriers, knocking through forbidden doors, and everything. The fact that she was even defending the Knockouts Championship on NXT, and also having NXT superstars coming over to TNA to take her on for her championship as well. Honestly, no matter where she goes, she is a force to be reckoned with, and the showing that she had in the Royal Rumble is a credit to her work.
Good stuff. Then Matt Burns, it's time for the main event. Award 17, as we say.
Do you want to?
Go on.
I'll let you take the honors of this one.
Which is our Superstar of the Year male. And this one really took some debate because there was a lot of wrestlers that could have topped this list this year. There has been a lot of quality talent in the world of professional wrestling, especially in WWE, it's fair to say. There has been some, when we look at the top of the pile in terms of professional wrestling, when we look at the likes of Roman Reigns, we look at the year LA Knights had, we look at, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, Drew McIntyre that we talked about, CM Punk, all these huge names. And not, I don't know, Matt Burns, you want to talk through some AEW counterparts that also have had amazing years, like Jon Moxley,
Claudia Castagnoli, be it, if not that,
Bryan Danielson,
Konosuke Takeshita. You've also got the Rainmaker. You've got Will Ospreay. We've got from pillar to post. We've got
not forgetting the year. Not forgetting the years Adam Copeland, Christian Cage, Bryan Danielson.
Hook,
all these wrestlers have had incredible years. Darby Allin.
We've also got people in TNA as well.
Yeah, you can't forget about the year Nick Nemeth had. You can't look past the year Ethan Page has had down in NXT. Trick Williams, Obafemi, longest reigning NXT North American champion in history. So many wrestlers that could have picked this up this time.
I'm glad you mentioned Ethan Page. his former tag team partner is also another good shout out.
Yeah, Josh Alexander, absolutely.
Definitely.
But for me, and for us at the Burning Truth, our superstar of the year male had to be the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. An incredible 2024 that saw him win back-to-back Royal Rumbles, capture the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania 40, and successfully defended against all sorts of WWE's top stars, the likes of AJ Styles, Kevin Owens. He won the Crown Jewel Championship over Gunter this year too. People forget about that. Obviously, beat CM Punk at the end of the Royal Rumble. Just absolute banger after banger from Cody Rhodes. And how could he not be? He's held the company on his back now as the main babyface. And The Rock said on the first Raw, he said the last 12 months. That's not true. He's been doing this for 2.5 years.
Yeah, and not only that, he also assisted, the Roman Reigns against the Floodline.
Yeah, that tag team match was absolutely epic. I can't remember the PLE name, but it was
Survivor Series?
No, it wasn't Survivor Series. That was the War Games.
Uh,
Was it Crown Jewel? No, not Crown Jewel. Was it Bad Blood
no,
with the Hell in a Cell?
Oh no, Bad Blood. Yeah, it was. That was the tag match.
So Cody Rhodes, an amazing year last year, and I think fully deserving of that TBT award. So let me, Matt Burns, just run us through our awards just to give an overall end of show update on what we did. We had the biggest shock of the year, WWE partnering with TNA Wrestling. We had our moment of the year, Cody Rhodes finishing his story at WrestleMania 40. We had our breakout star of the year, Bron Breakker. Breakout star, Bron Breakker. See what we did there? We had our most improved wrestler of the year, the irresistible force, Nia Jax. And I officially got Matt Burns to say he looks forward to seeing Nia Jax on TV. We had the indie darling of the year, as always ready, Matt Cardona. We awarded our crowd favorite of the year to main event Jey Uso.
Yeet.
Our heat magnet of the year was Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Wait,
show stealer.
I was about to say, go back. I was about to say, boo!
Our show stealer of the year, the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. Our promo of the year, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns at Georgia Tech Stadium. Our feud of the year, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. Our tag team of the year, Liv and Dom. Our finisher of the year, the Tsunami. Our most consistent performer of the year, the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus. The match of the year, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, Hell in a Cell at WWE Bad Blood. Our comeback of the year, Nigel McGuinness, AEW All In London. Our superstar of the year, female, the Juggernaut Jordan Grace. And our superstar of the year, male, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Honestly, I could not be more. Them awards that we've handed out could not be more deserving.
I agree.
Could not be more deserving. Now, a lot of you might be sitting there thinking, hang on, but one of you is like the WWE guy, and the other one's like the independence AEW, TNA guy and everything. But listen, the awards that have been given out haven't been there. We haven't just gone, oh, we'll just give them because it's going to the top company and everything. That's not the case. They have been more than deserving of earning them awards.
And I think that shows Jordan Grace winning Superstar of the Year female.
Yeah.
In a different universe where Sasha Banks didn't have an absolutely terrible 2024, she's the Superstar of the Year female. But we don't live in that world. We don't live in a world where AEW has done a lot with Sasha Banks and Sasha Banks has done a lot for AEW. We live in a world where Jordan Grace has been the Superstar of the Year for the women.
And the fact is, yes, she could, Mercedes Moné could be getting some of her matches slowly better. Slowly. But the fact is, she hasn't been that consistent performer. She hasn't been that superstar like Jordan Grace has. And the fact is, we are not going to give out an award just because, one company is having too many awards. If you've earned it, you've earned it. Simple
Absolutely.
as. Simple
Couldn't
as.
agree
So
more.
with that being said, I'm going to say that's a wrap on the Burning Truth Awards, also known as the TBT Awards. From shocking partnerships to unforgettable feuds, this year in wrestling, and the year of 2024 has been nothing short of legendary, and we are thrilled to have celebrated it with all of you who've watched and listening in.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want more Burning Truth, keep the conversation going with us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, Facebook at The Burning Truth, and Blue Sky at TBT Live UK. And don't forget our YouTube channel at The Burning Truth 251 for full episodes, reactions, and exclusive behind the scenes content. And we're also on TikTok at The Burning Truth 251. Don't miss next week's episode. We're going to do something a little different. We're diving into a watch along to watch along one of the greatest Royal Rumbles of all time, Royal Rumble 1992. You're not going to want to miss that one. That's a new format for us. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, make sure to hit the like button and of course the subscribe button to to the podcast. Leave us a review on your favorite platform. Your support does keep us going and help us bring wrestling fans together from all over the world and help us bring wrestling to the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, head over to theburningtruthuk.com for breaking news, exclusive stories, blogs, and all that cool stuff that we get up to. All the updates on your favorite wrestling events and stars. You won't miss a beat with us. You won't miss a beat with us. You won't miss one either.
Definitely. And I will say, I definitely know that there is some quality posts on there and some quality blogs on there because I've been checking them out. And let's say they're Scott, chef's kiss on some of them. Absolutely outstanding. But with that being said, till next time, stay fired up, stay passionate, and always remember that wrestling is for everyone. And of course, I always say this DFTBA, which of course always means don't forget to be awesome.
Excelsior!